welcome everybody. We're going into our 5th episode, I believe, and very fortunate tonight. We've got a very special guest. We've got the Lord Mayor, Geoff McDonald. Welcome, Geoff, upon the Southern Suburbs Tigers Club podcast, where we give an insight into the background of the club and where we're heading within the future, and also give an update to our sponsors, supporters, and everybody else involved, and also trying to attract some sponsors to come on board with the podcast to support Hugh Clark with his fantastic job that he's doing for us at the moment. We'll switch over to you in a moment, Geoff, and we'll get an insight into your background in regards to where you started your football career, your touch with football, and then obviously where you are now as the Lord Mayor of Toowoomba. It's a massive achievement, and congratulations on that. And then we've also got Cam Wuersching here, the South Juniors President. Thanks, Cam, for coming along. We'll basically have a bit of a chat in regards to Gull Park in the future, where it's at, in regards to letting everybody know what's going on there. But first of all, we might give a bit of a wrap in regards to where the juniors are at this weekend. What they're playing Valleys, I believe, at Valleys.
Well, we have our 13s or 10s to 17s at Valleys. We got our girls playing out in Chinchilla, and our 6s to 9s are a new concept with these cluster days. They'll be at Jack Martin Centre with Newtown and Gatton.
So logistically, not a problem whatsoever. So Chinchilla,
not a hassle at all.
Jack Martin, everywhere
Tell you
else.
what, if you've got siblings all over the place, it'll make. Are they all on the same day?
Yes, everything's this Saturday, so yeah, there's a bit going on Saturdays.
Do the girls go out in a bus to Chinchilla?
We send them on a bus, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think they get up at a fair hour.
They leave at 7:30. Should
That's
be back
not too
around
bad.
4. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Chinchilla, they certainly look after us, put us in about that middle spot of the day.
It's a credit to Chinchilla and everybody out there to be able to facilitate the football for those guys out there, which is really
The
good.
girls are really strong out in Chinchilla.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They got really good girls football out there.
Yeah.
That's good. Very good. A
so-
long weekend too.
Yeah.
It is. And there's also the 15s girls and 17 girls Darling Downs, state school carnival as well. So there's a few girls missing.
Yeah, right.
from
Where's
both
that at?
Is that Gladstone tomorrow?
this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
They start tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
We wish all the girls and everybody that's
We
involved
have
up there.
representatives from 15s and 17s. So
Yeah. That's a fantastic achievement. I think the other thing is probably to touch on those 4 young gentlemen or 5 young gentlemen that were within the Cyril O'Connor Western Clydesdales Cup this year. It's credit to those guys and credit to the juniors. There's a couple of boys picked up on awards, I think, which is good. You want to give them a bit of a plug while we're on it?
Yeah, look, I actually haven't seen who got the awards, but I know, that there was some awards. I believe you were there presenting, Geoff.
I was. Yeah, no, the Cyril, Connell and Meninga, and then they named a team across the men and women in the 17s, 15s and 17s in those positions, adjudged the best player through the year, which is a great concept.
Great concept.
Yeah, it was really good actually. There was one chap there, Jamal, I can't think of his last name. Anyway, the players at the last training session, he said, "Oh, what do you wear?" It was supposed to be just in this sort of gear, and they said, "Oh, it's a suit, it's a done-up type thing." And he turned up in this pinky, musky or salmon-coloured suit, like top to toe, sunglasses, the whole gear on. He looked a million bucks. As soon as I saw him, I said, "You're a winger," and he was. He's a winger. I think he plays for Valleys actually. Anyway, he got in the team of the year and won a lot of things. So he was quite a character. They obviously was a crowd favourite when he got announced, but he stood out.
He stood
He's
out.
definitely stood out.
Yeah.
He looked the goods though.
You better be careful in that category of wingers. I think you come from a category of wingers too, just quietly, don't you?
Yeah, but he's got me covered, I can tell you, as far as dress code's concerned. Holy hell. He was quite happy about it too. If I'd have turned up in that sort of gear and saw everyone else in just the polo shirts, I reckon I'd be looking for a change of clothing pretty quickly. But anyway, he was happy, and he pulled it off really well too, I've got to say. So good on you, Jamal.
Hairstyle to match too, wouldn't he?
He looked smart,
Yep.
I've got to be honest with you. He was, very classy. Very classy, and obviously he can play as well, so he matches his looks with
He's got to back it up.
his effort on the field.
Like that, you got to back it up.
You do. So he's good. A great concept, really good. And now those players will then go back to their clubs, and hopefully they've learnt something from those coaches and the other players, and it lifts the standard right across the competition.
No, for sure. I think it's a great concept, and I think the timing of it, where it finishes, allows those young players to go back and give to those clubs as well, which is good. I think we're only into round 3 of the season in regards to, because of the rep seasons out, all the stop starts we've had, which is they've been pretty good.
Have Souths got any BMD girls?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
You have? Yeah, righto.
We've got a fair few, actually, and it's sort of like they won't be available until after they get going and when they finish and that, so that's a fair way down the track. But Trappy's done really well there with recruiting and the girls that he's got there. It's just a case of putting it all together on the park, which is really good. So.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because the women's State of Origin's on tomorrow night, and yet these young ladies haven't played a game.
Haven't played a game, no.
It's really interesting, and I'm not sure. I think it's the same with New South Wales. I don't think they've played any yet either. But last year, the year before when they were actually embedded in the BMD, they'd all played games, so that they were right to go. And I think it was last year when our team Queensland got beaten by New South Wales and then won the next two, albeit it was wet in Townsville when they won the last game, but they did win it. So tomorrow night will be interesting. It'll be good to see. Well, Jada Ferguson will be playing, Shanae Sazolka. So there's always a bit of interest about from here.
Good representation from the Darling Downs, and I think that's always been great in regards to all the way back through the history of the Clydesdales and everything as well. So just on to the seniors, we host Valleys this weekend in all 4 grades. That'll be at Gold Park, and obviously there's a great opportunity for us to get everybody out there on the back end of a successful win against Gatton, down at Gatton. And I think the other thing is that obviously having the long weekend, there'll be a lot of people having the opportunity to come along and celebrate it, enjoy a Sunday night as well, which would be good. So everyone gets out there and get along to that. That'll be great. Without further ado, mate, we'll get straight into it. So Geoff McDonald, basically from where you started from your first involvement with Rugby League, everyone knows your dad's background. But tonight I thought we'd really nail it down and concentrate on your achievements as where you started
We're
from.
a very short podcast.
No, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of people that probably don't know your background and probably deserve to know your background. I first come across you, I think it was Peter Nolan had a concept in regards to the Toowoomba Clydesdales being based out of Newtown, and you were the conditioner there. And I think I was fortunate enough to be the assistant coach with Graham Parmenter, and from there, so you've always had an S&C background. Is it something that you've wanted to pursue further, or you went in different paths? But that's something that you can enlighten the listeners as you go through your path or your journey with, your first touch with Rugby League and where you're at now.
Okay, well, it's pretty boring for most, so just get your cup of tea or whatever you want to do, have a beer and just sit down and relax. So I'll make it as exciting as it possibly can be. Yeah. Firstly, this is a great concept. Collie, Cam, it's great. Thanks very much for coming along here. It's a really good concept, and as you said from the outset, Col, it gives your sponsors an opportunity to be seen and heard and acknowledged, but also gives the viewers and the listeners an opportunity to hear what's going on at the club. So really good. So well done.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Hats off to you both. Look, I think I played rugby league at Rangeville Primary School.
Yep.
So that was where it started, and that was the halcyon years of rugby league. So 1980, of course, the first State of Origin, and I remember being in the grandstand, which were the old wooden seats, the panel seats in Lang Park, and and those times there was the coach, and then there were two assistants who were basically the managers. That was it in the team. Didn't have anyone else. Now, of course, you got almost 1-to-1. If not 2-to-1.
Only 2-to-1, yeah.
So it is quite different. But they were really, and you never know, and it's like this sort of stuff. You never appreciate something until years later when you think, shit, that was a good idea. We started that podcast. It's still going here 30 years later, if they ever do podcasts 30 years later. But it's one of those things that we took for granted. I'm one of 6 kids.
Yep.
So we used to, and the youngest then, actually only one was born then, the youngest, and then there was another one to come after that. Only the year next year. No, 78, 79. They're only 1 year old and 2 year old. So I was lucky. I was 8 years old at that stage, the first game, and we had the privilege of going to the training sessions and run around with the players and all that sort of stuff, which was really special. And I guess that's when you sort of meet Wally Lewis and Mal Meninga and Chris Close. And I remember we used to go to family holidays at Redcliffe, where my grandparents had a house, and Choppy used to live about a block and a half away. And every holidays I'd be down at his place, just getting autographs from him and, on pieces of paper, and then take him to school and give them to friends, And it was just, one particular time, Arthur, of course, lived in Redcliffe as well, Hardy Beats, and we went out on his boat, and in Moreton Bay, and it was just a really classic time. He had the Moreton Bay pub then at the time, and life was completely different. It was just, that's what it was.
The norm, yeah.
It was the norm.
Yep.
So they were really special times. So primary school was that. Then I went to Toowoomba Grammar in my secondary years, and played rugby union there, and really enjoyed it. Prefer playing it than watching it, to be honest. Rugby union, it's just one of those games that's very stop-start. But playing it was quite good because it is tactical in many ways. So I played 5'8" and fullback, and we had, it was great times, fantastic, loved it. But then when I finished school in '88, I signed up for Valleys in '89, and we got to the grand final, got beaten by All Whites. So that was my first time playing since grade 7, and I was captain of the side at Valleys. And we ended up, we had some great contests, and Newtown had a really good side then. Robbie O'Daves was playing 5'8", and I got to know him a little bit through
his
that.
Dad the coach then, Peter?
Peter wasn't. I don't think he was the coach.
Okay.
But he was in and around. He was always there.
Yeah.
And there was all this talk, as you do. You'd go there and they say, "Oh, that 5'8" for Valley's, he's a good kicker." And in rugby union, you did kick. You kicked a lot, and you had to be accurate and get distance and all that sort of stuff. So going to rugby league, and I'd watch some of the blokes in Valleys kick, and they'd kick it out, and they'd go on this bloody almost a right angle to kick it out. I thought, shit, we can do better than that. So I would kick, and you'd gain 40 metres every time, and they're going, holy shit, this is amazing. I'm thinking, no, it's not that amazing. It's just what you do. And I actually see it a bit in league now at the highest level.
Yep.
They'll kick the ball, and some will go on an angle, and then the good kickers, they'll get some distance on it, and you go, well, there you go. That's how you do it.
Yep.
And anyway, so I played league then for Valleys, and we had a terrific team, great lot of people, mix of backgrounds and all that, and that's when I really got a feel for what rugby league is, which is really a community. This is a sport that, the rusted on, get involved, and you play out there at Valleys, which is now named after Cracker, of course, the Geoff McDonald complex, and you're right on the ground. The can bars there, the canteens there, and you were under 18s, you'd play pretty early in the day, but I was fortunate enough on a number of occasions to sit on the bench for A grade, and it was just amazing, just a great. And Billy Pollard was the coach, and Steve was the captain when we actually won then with Palmetto, the coach, in '92, and the year before in '91 we got beaten by All Whites in the grand final in A grade, and I'd broken my ankle 3 games before the grand final. So I was out, and I was actually in the broadcast box with Peter Rukas, was calling the game.
Wow.
And it was when the old stand, and you'd be over in the broadcast there, and you wouldn't bloody believe this. We're in front by 4, I think it was. Valleys were in front by 4. There was a scrum 10 metres out from our line. We had the feed, and they got it against the feed, and they scored a try. Rukas had said, well, I'm going down now for the presentation. The Valleys have won it, so I'll go down there ready for it. I said, no problem. So he's not in the broadcast box for the most exciting part of the game, the last 30 seconds, and Valleys got beaten 3 weeks ago. I'm playing in the grand final. Here I am in the grandstand, and I've got a call, and it's a try to Brothers. And well, it's All Whites. Said, try to All Whites for Stephen Beatros. I'm pretty sure it was Beatros. It said, they've beaten Valleys in the grand final. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? Anyway, the next year round, I was fortunate enough to play, and we won in extra time. It was an amazing game. You think about memories of what was special in that team. Like we had the likes of Richie Lee, Steve Pollard, Jake Bailey.
Wow.
Right? We had Peter Hazard, who was the front rower, Lindsay Williams, who you'll know well, Scud,
No,
Bevan Sargent, Craig Pearce, Alec Young. Wow. It was a team that would be a Toowoomba team, seriously. And here I am on the wing, and thinking, shit, how good's this? They just keep passing me the ball. I keep scoring tries. It's fantastic.
You were the difference at the end.
Oh, definitely the difference.
You were the difference.
And it went into this. Jess, that's Abby. So at the end of the day, it was a draw at full time, right?
Wow.
So we had to play full time. Newtown.
Back then.
Newtown had Russell Edmonston, Bradley George, Ian Doonerman.
Was Bull still playing?
Who's Bull?
Bull Doonerman.
Yes, he was playing.
staying, yeah.
Denman.
Yeah,
Denman.
yeah.
Yeah, he was playing.
Yep.
They had a cracking side.
Was Doc there?
Doc didn't play, I don't think, in that game. I think
Righto.
Ian Doonan was half or 5'8".
Right.
And I can't think of who the other was there. Anyway, they had a bloody good side, really good side. And I think James Boney, actually, I was marking on the wing.
Yep.
Bones. And we got on really well. Yeah, it was fantastic. They had Andrew Richards
Yep.
and Marksy in the centres.
He was a good player.
I had a cracking team, and at the end of the game, it was a draw. We're all players looking at each other, going, "Holy shit, we're going to keep going." It wasn't golden point.
So
There's no golden point. You had to play an extra 10 minutes.
10 minutes. And, whoever
And
was in
then
front
if it's a draw, you come back the next week.
Wow.
Anyway, we ended up. Alec Young actually scored a try in his typical fashion.
Yeah.
You know, he's just smooth. He was I don't know how you describe Alec. He was sort of a cross between a Steve Renouf and probably a Terry Lamb.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a
he
pretty
had
good fit. Yeah.
he had really good skills, a smooth runner, and he was an amazing athlete. He scored. Richie Lee kicked the goal, and we must have got another penalty. So we were 8 in front, and anyway they scored, and we won by 2 points, and it was an amazing game. It was really good. So that was in 1992,
Yep.
and then 93. I played another 4 or 5 years, and suffered a reasonably bad injury against Souths actually in a preliminary final. I think it was in 97 or something or other, 96. And we got beaten, and I still maintain, and in fact I've had it on good authority from some of the South players that I did actually score this try, and I got actually hit across the head, broken nose and what have you, and knocked out, and that was the end of that. And then the next year, Toowoomba, we played a trial down at Burleigh, and it was the time of the night when the sun's going down and the lights start to take effect on the field.
Yep.
We'd gone into half time, and I could sense that I was having trouble seeing. You know, I was playing fullback.
Okay. Yep.
And I said to Parmenter, I said, I'm going to have to see how I go here. I said, I was struggling to see that ball just before half time. Anyway, he said, well, see how you go. I got out there and they kicked off and I couldn't see the ball.
Wow.
So I just put my hand up and said, I'm off. And I played, I think, 2 more games. That was it. I didn't play anymore.
Wow.
So and then I loved the game so much I wanted to get involved, so I stayed on and did conditioning and what have you for the teams, and then was fortunate enough to spend some time with Pete Nolan and
Yep.
Kevy Walters with the Bronx when we won the premiership against Radcliffe in 2001, and so it's interestingly enough, because I only had probably 3 or 4 players here. I used to get some of my mates, some of which had never played rugby league before, to come to training and run around with us,
Yep.
just to be a nuisance.
Yep.
And once that all finished, they said, I reckon we could still do this. I said, righto, come on. We've been doing it for 25 years. So every week I train with whoever comes along, and we...
Is that the post on the social media on the
the midweek stuff.
morning? Yeah, in the early morning stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, and what's good about it is that these guys would never have done it, right? So they're out there doing it, and they get fit, and the young ladies come along, and kids, whoever's in, they go, it's free to go. I shouldn't be saying this in the podcast. I'll get hundreds. Anyway, what's really fascinating is that during a game, or a warm-up predominantly, I'll get messages from some of these guys saying, I'm watching the Melbourne Storm. They're doing the same exercise as we do.
Yeah.
And I said, nothing much has changed.
No.
It's not a complex thing, this.
Well, see, it's interesting. I watch some of those posts, and it's something similar like as in the 10 passes game or something similar to that.
Yeah.
You know, some people, the coaches come out and think it's the new best thing that's ever been done. It's been around for years, and I see you doing it with your colleagues down there every morning, which is absolutely fantastic.
That's good fun. So, mate, that was Valleys, and then I got involved with the other thing, and that was a good year, actually. The Newtown Clydesdales. We got beaten in I think it was the major or the preliminary final.
Yeah.
And but they were a good bunch of lads. They were good players. There were some really good players.
Yeah, it was just really good players. I think it was interesting trying to put it all together. There were some blokes that absolutely hated each other on the field, and then all of a sudden we got them all together, and then we tried to gel them all together. It was interesting having the likes of, I think there was some Danny boys, there's some blokes from Newtown. other blokes there as well.
It was good to see them all come together, actually.
Yeah.
Because historically they hadn't. But
Well, I think the other thing was like, it was interesting. I still remember the first, I would call it a road run or do something, but Dicko came down because Pete and I met up when we did our level 2 coaching course at Gatton.
Oh, right.
And then he got in contact with me and said, mate, there's something in the pipeline. I'd love you to be on board. And I said, yeah, right. I was really excited, really keen. And then it's an interesting story because all of a sudden he rang me back and said, oh, no, Dicko thinks she might be a little bit raw, a bit young. He wants to bring Graham Parmenter in. I said, right. So anyway, I ended up being an assistant. But halfway through the year, I wanted to go on my own path, and I went with the Reggies and coached them. That was great year for that as well. But it was an interesting thing there. One thing was when on the road run, I don't know where it was, down past the hockey club and around and come back around. And all the boys thought they did a really good job, and they were running, come back, and then Dicko just absolutely sprayed them. It's just like you all ran with your mates. You're all comfortable.
Yeah.
This is about not being comfortable and about doing your PB, and it just sunk in regards to getting out of your comfort zones. Yeah. And there was another interesting. We could probably touch on that now as well. There was another interesting night there because there was Trevor Shartley, Lukey Hillier, and all these guys were there, and then back like the drug testing was there, and they turned up. They all turned up, and it was interesting because like they just follow you around. They don't let you go. And like Trev's going, look, I'm going to the toilet. No, we follow you. We follow you everywhere. And they were there till about 10, 11 o'clock, still waiting for Trev to do his urinate in the toilet and that. It was just an eye opener for these lads.
Different,
which was good. So, so how did you from the rugby league pathway and the S&C pathway end up into the politics side of things and end up where you are now?
Interesting question. Never had how people talk about their vision board and what they want to achieve in their life. This was never on my bucket list, I can tell you. Never at all. My brother's the state member for Lockyer.
So that's Jim.
Yep. Yeah, he's been politically minded and motivated from time to time. I haven't, and that's probably why local government suits me, to be honest. So in 2011, we had a little rain event here that created a few dramas, a lot of damage.
About half it.
And I was actually president of the Chamber of Commerce then at the time, and we raised over $500,000 and distributed it within a couple of weeks, and that sort of elevated me to people noticing what I was doing or how I did it, and then I was approached by who was the deputy mayor at the time and the state member to say, look, you should run for council. And I said, really, we've got our business, it's going well, I really need to be there, and Chamber's good, I enjoy it, I don't think I will anyway. They said, no, you'll be able to do it. Anyway, one thing led to another. I just spoke to the CEO and I said, these blokes think it's only 2 days a month to come to thing. Is that right? And he said, no, it's not quite that. He said, you'll be there for 2 days every week for the month and other things that are on. But he said, given where your work is and where you live and whatever, he said, you could probably do it. Anyway, a bit of conversation with family, and which is important to do that, and our work and staff and what have you.
You had the printing business then too.
Yeah, still do.
Still do.
Yeah, Cracker Printing, 125 years this year. Yeah, so 5 generations. Lisa, my wife, is the last family member in the business.
Yep.
And so 125 years this year. Anyway, I said, this is it. And with this sort of thing, you never know. You have a job application every 4 years, an interview. Yeah. So you never know how long this is going to be. It could be 4 years if you get in, it could be longer than that.
Yep.
So I always go in with the mindset of being positive and proactive, right, with whatever you do. So if I'm going to have a go in it, I'm going to go in it. And people know that around me. So they say, well, this is on.
Yep.
That means we're all invested. It's not just me.
Yep.
And anyway, I got in there, and after about 8 months, I could tell that I couldn't keep doing both. So we employed a general manager outside of our family for the first time in 120 years in the business, or 115 years in the business, and he's still there today. Wow. Did his apprenticeship there almost 40 years to the day before he started back with us, and then it's a big job. And then of course former Mayor Paul Antonio retired in July in 2023. It's too close to an election to have a by-election, so the councillors then had to decide amongst that group who they wanted to be mayor.
Yep.
I was appointed as mayor and then went to the election in 2024 and was elected. So another election in a couple of years' time, almost to the month.
Wow. Mate, it's a massive achievement. Congratulations. Well done. And
I think, Collie, just on that, I guess the point is that, and I speak to a lot of school kids, and even year 12s, you know, and when I go to talk with them, I always ask, give us a show of hands, how many of you know exactly what you want to do next year or have a pathway of what you're going to do next year? When I was going through school, and I gave a bit of a hint on when that was about 88, I would say 90% put their hand up and said, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Yep. Now it's the reverse. Massive. 10% put their hand up, you know? And I reflect on that all the time because I think I never, if someone said, oh, you're going to be mayor one day, oh, you're joking, you know. Yeah. Even today when, you know, you introduced me as the Lord Mayor, which elevates me a bit actually because I'm only just, I'm His Worship the Mayor. But anyway, Lord Mayor's fine.
We're here to pump your tyres.
Brisbane's the Lord Mayor.
We've got to build you up and then we'll have
I'll send Adrian Schrinner a message. I'll send him the podcast. Anyway, so I guess what it does say to me is that your life goes in different directions because of the various factors, you know, whatever it might be. So don't get hung up about where you want to be sometimes. Yep. Just focus on what you're doing and do it bloody well. Because, you know, and that's what I've said to our councillors, and we've got a commitment to do our best every day. If you do your best every day, everything else takes care of itself. Yep. It's exactly the same as on the field. If you do your best on the field, it'll take care of itself. If you ought to win, you will win. Yep. The scoreboard will tell you that. Just do your best, you know. And if the other team's better than on your day, that's the way it is, you know. But don't go into the dressing room and say, oh, I should have done this, or, you know, if I'd have done that or done that. Don't worry about that. Leave that alone. Just focus on what you're doing, and that's been my mentality all my life, I guess. So that's how it is. So
I think that's probably a bit of a cliche that we've been using lately, is in particular with a few blokes that have come new to the club or people that have been there in the past. Is change the mindset of being proactive rather than being reactive. I think that's a big thing that we've been putting within the club as well, which is good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll go straight to the point in regards to Gold Park.
Yeah, good. Happy to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it'd be good because basically I think since I've arrived there, it's a great facility. There's great opportunity within it. And at the moment, I think when we were first training there before we went Ernest Peak, you got 500 plus juniors. Yeah,
look, I think so. With Gold Park, there's 4 actual sporting clubs, organisations that use it. There's our juniors and seniors at South. There's Rangers Senior Rugby and South Junior Rugby. Yep. You know, combined numbers, you're looking at near 1,000 people. You know, and that's
2,000 feet on the field.
Yeah,
on the field every weekend.
That's a lot.
And then you throw in
is that Oztag?
Oztag that plays there, as well. And then also you got the skill groups that use it during the week. You know, from time to time. Yeah. As well, so it
is well used. But that's what you want it to be. It's just how to maintain it, make sure that it's it's safe to do. That's always
that's the thing that we sort of probably, from my perspective, I've been down in the dressing rooms and had a look at the bottom field dressing rooms and things like that. You know, it's probably not great facilities in regards to that. We probably just want to ask where that's heading and where the opportunity is. And I believe the juniors may have put a proposal forward this year to try and there's been
conversations with council in regards to that. And they've sort of told us where they're lying. But there is an overview plan for Gold Park, and I suppose it'd be great for the listeners to hear.
Yep. Yeah, so there's a lot of history in Gold Park. You know, I played rugby union there a lot for Downs, Darling Downs. We'd played there, obviously. That was the home of rugby union for a long time. We also had a West Indies versus Queensland country cricket there. I think I was in about grade 8 or something. Wow. So that's in 84 or thereabouts. And it was amazing because they handed out all those little bats, the ones they get signed. Joel Garner was there, and oh my God, wasn't it? It was so good. Michael Marshall and all those really amazing players, they
They
play
had
there.
the best team coming through at
It's
that
incredible.
stage. Yeah.
Anyway, they don't play cricket there anymore, which is probably a blessing for the rectangular field
Yeah.
games because it's really hard to maintain. But it's valued by a lot of people naturally, and it's in an ideal spot as far as being able to get to it is concerned. Sometimes it's a bit hard when you've got a lot of traffic there, but there's actually 3 accesses into there. If you've got the bottom, the east, west, and then the southern side. So there is a plan to put a clubhouse and amenities in the middle between the southern field and the northern fields.
Yep.
Yeah, which would be ideal because you could actually access both.
Both, yeah.
If you needed to, It's the old stand that's there. It's not heritage listed, but someone could probably throw something over it because it's been there a long time. And that's around about a $5 million build to do that.
Yep.
So there's a program called Games On that the Queensland government have got. Tim Mander is the minister in charge of that, and we've got an application either in or going in for that. And they're the sorts of things that we hope Games On will do. Certainly historically they have. That would be absolutely amazing if we could jag that for next year, because then it sets that up from women's dressing rooms, referees, hate them but you love them, you need them.
Yeah.
All the things that you do need, that will then keep that in play for a long time. While that's happening, of course, we've also got the Toowoomba Region Sports Precinct.
Yep.
We've got an application. We've got a request to the state and federal budget for $30 million each, with council's $24 million. So it's an $84 million stage one, and that builds, I think it's 4 or 6 rectangular fields as well.
Is that the Charlton project?
That's the Charlton project. So that's at play. That's stage one, and there's 6 stages. It's about a $300 million build. So it's a stage by stage.
Yep.
What we are hoping is that with the Olympics and Paralympics, let's hope it's announced 100%. At the moment, it's 95% that the equestrian will be here, but September, I think, is the deadline for them to make decisions on that. We also see the regional sports park as potentially a staging station for buses and transportation into there, because you're looking at roughly 60,000 people a day to go into the showgrounds. So if we can have some hard stand in the new facility, which will then turn into car parking for the facility, then that could attract some funding from the games for that particular purpose. So that's happening. It's well and truly on our radar. While that's going on, though, we're upgrading. I think it's Heritage Oval or Southern Cross Oval. I think it's called more than Heritage Oval. We've done Carney Springs, of course. We did Rockville the year before that. So we've got this rolling program, and Gold Park is the next one on our list.
On there. No, that'd be fantastic, because I think we put it out to our committee, and that was one of the questions for tonight, and that was one of the questions in regards to the Gold Park facilities. What would happen if potentially something would drastic happen and Souths are looking for another field or looking for another option, and is Charlton an option within that? I guess that was one of the questions. And then the other one was in regards to, you touched on it before, and I think it's going gangbusters at the moment. It's just unbelievable increase the female participation in rugby league, and being able to support that, facilitate that in regards to, the dressing rooms, ovals, the standards and everything else, and with that, it's just mind-boggling in how fast it's going, and then we have to be able to facilitate that.
Yeah, you do. You don't want a facility to not be able to cater for all, to be honest, and that's where, the Carney Springs one is a good one. If you haven't been up to there, the touch fields and the softball and what that baseball is, it's a good field, a good setup. They're not cheap, these things either, mind you.
No, building in general is not cheap.
No, and it's getting dearer. And that Rockville is a good example too, where they've got cricket and AFL cohabitat. So it's a good one. Southern Cross Oval will be another good one. It's well and truly ready for an upgrade.
Yep.
Needs some work, and of course Gold Park. So it'll give them more length of time.
Yeah.
But what we don't want is our facilities to be at a stage where we're limiting people to be able to play because we don't have enough facilities. That's where Charlton comes into play, importantly, because we're already at a bit of a pinch point now.
We are. Well, it's interesting. Like our Western Clydesdales are in the same sort of boat, aren't they? Really,
Yeah.
in regards to the facilities that they need
Yeah.
to cater for their potentially got 6 teams.
Yeah.
Or BMD ladies, Cyril O'Connor, Mal Meninga, Q Cup, BMD.
Yeah.
It's a massive, and I believe they've all moved. They're all trained now to Clyde for now.
I'm not 100% sure, but I know that they are looking for more ground, more facilities.
Yes.
Like and that's fantastic. You know, I love nothing more than. And to be fair, I'm a rugby league fan, but it doesn't worry me what sport people are playing as long as they're playing sport.
Yeah.
You know, you think of pickleball, how big it is. Pickleball is phenomenal. You know, and it's growing at a rate, and it's sort of started with over 50s living, but it's become more mainstream. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a scoop that it's not an Olympic sport by 2032.
Well, I know
as a racket sport.
It's picked up at school. I know that for sure. Kids are getting out there in their lunch hours and doing it all the time.
It's phenomenal.
It's unbelievable. Which is good.
It's a really good thing. I'm not so sure about padel. Have you heard about padel?
No.
Padel's like squash, but it's sort of like on a half-court tennis court, so you can play off the back wall, off the side walls. In fact, you can hit the ball out of the court as long as you hit it from your court across the net, and if it goes outside the court, you can run outside and hit the ball back in from outside the court. And they're built like a squash court, basically. It's got 4 sides. It's amazing sport. It's a very corporate sport.
Yep.
Big in Europe. The likes of Andy Murray is a promoter of it.
Yep.
So it's another one, but I think pickleball is more accessible for people and would be a sport that I think we need to seriously look at where we can provide more of that too.
Oh, that'd be great. Sorry to keep going back to the Gold Park, but in the meantime, what with our facilities that we've got there, like I say, at bottom on the bottom oval, in particular, what sort of upgrades can we expect, or can we expect anything within the near future? I'll probably tell it how it is. I go into the away dressing rooms and there's holes in the wall, everything else like that. So
that's the disgruntled players.
It is. It is disgruntled players. It's frustrating, but just those sort of things. If we could and then obviously, the big thing for us is obviously we'd like a gym in our backyard and to be able to facilitate for that, because at the moment there's a lot of, when we're trying to recruit players, or the under 19s get to a stage where they go to a club, and some clubs are utilising, they've got a gym in their backyard or that sort of things as well. So in the short term, is there anything that we can sort of look at?
I think your best chance, because of what you got, the South Rugby Union juniors, you got Rangers, you got yourselves there, so 4 clubs. The best you could do is be a combined effort to come to council and say these are the sorts of things that we should put in a master plan or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You need council. The best thing council can do is get out of the road and let the clubs do it. That's the best thing we can do. However, that doesn't happen sometimes, and then we have to come in and say, well, hang on a minute, you got to work together here. Yeah. Otherwise, we're all going to lose out.
Yep.
So the best thing would be to come with a proposal that's fair and reasonable for all.
Yep.
And then it's a case of looking for funding. That's what it is. And
that's the thing about Gold Park too. It's not just rugby league. It's not just union. There's
you got the OzTag, all those other things you say.
School groups that use it. Lighting is a massive issue there. Lighting is really, particularly on that bottom oval where rugby, juniors rugby and senior and our junior league, we play a lot of night games there, but
is it at the standard that you should be playing?
There's a fair dead patch in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's right on the borderline.
That's where you can drop the ball if you need to drop the ball.
That's right. The fullback's got an excuse.
I'd have been no bloody good, I can tell you.
There's massive space behind the bottom field. We could create another mod field. Yeah. And that would be a massive help on home days. Like our home games, if we have a combined club on over 2 fields, we start at 8 and we'll finish around 9 at night.
Yeah, right.
Both fields.
Yeah. Massive, isn't it?
Getting through every single game. Yeah. But if we had that extra field down the bottom where there's room and capacity, I think particularly when this does happen, hopefully, we can be involved in those discussions about a master plan.
Yep.
Because there's going to be a lot of earthworks needed there. we could easily level out that bottom and sort that out. And
Well, I think and you would have spoken with our team within council, I would assume, because we've seen some of the things coming through with Daniel York, and Daniel York's a rugby league player, so he'll get the idea. He knows what you're after. I don't think he's playing anymore now. He might be more committed to his family, I think, to not be injured.
Yep.
Anyway, he was a fair player too.
He was a good player.
He could play.
Yep.
So, council is always open to ideas of how to improve things.
Yep.
So once you've got that and you get everyone involved and everyone agrees on it, says, yeah, this is a great idea, then it's a case of, right, let's get a master plan, let's get some funding, because funding will be the key.
Yep.
But you guys could actually apply for funding as well, which could help.
Yeah.
Not just council, So, and a combined effort is always the way to go.
No, sounds good. Any other questions?
I think we've covered most.
Covered most of it.
Gull Park.
Which is good. Gull Park, yeah. Righto. We might,
Good.
it was in the itinerary that we might have a look at it. This segment will go into it, but like your proudest sporting achievement. And this is brought to us, this segment's brought to us by Paulie McKellar, concreting
Good on
in
you.
Toowoomba.
Good on you, Macca.
Just a good little plug there for
Give
Paulie
me a shout
McKellar.
out, Paulie.
He
Good
doesn't
on you,
know
mate.
it
Where's
yet,
the
but we've
camera?
put him on one of his
Paul
sponsors.
McKellar,
That's
concrete.
it, Paul McKellar.
There he is.
Righto, Jeff, we'll head
good
over
man.
to you. Your proudest
He was in
sporting
that
achievement.
Paulie McKellar, 5'8".
He was a good player,
he
good
was.
bloke as well.
Proudest sporting achievement.
Proudest sporting achievement, your own.
Oh, there's so many.
Well, you name the top three. Top three.
No. Oh, look, I mentioned the 1992 game. That was A-grade grand final at extra time. That was pretty special to be part of. Anything where there's team sport, and you all work together to achieve a common goal is a good thing, and you achieve it. I think that's always a good memory.
Massive. So back then, was it at Valley's home ground or at the Clydeberg or far?
No, that was at the home of Rugby League. It was
At Pillar Street.
the Athletic Oval. Athletic Oval. And, it was such a thrill to play at the Athletic Oval as a, junior or whatever, to go through there, and you go through those tunnels and go up on the field. Yeah, that was just such a thrill. It's like playing at Suncorp Stadium. Now, you go through the tunnels there and go on there, and you're thinking, holy bloody hell. What's really interesting as a player is that you look at the field, when you watch it on TV, Suncorp Stadium, and those big players, it looks so small. The field looks so small. And then you see little kids out there at half time playing against each other in under sixes or something, and go, oh my God, that's a big field. Every field is the same size. They're all the same size, whether you're at Valleys, Clydeberg Stadium, out at Gold Park or at Suncorp. They're the same size field, but they look so different.
It's interesting, like you talked about that in regards to playing at Athletic Oval. I remember back when we were like playing and coming through, there used to be actually club fixtures there. So, by the time you got to, your semi-finals or you got to your grand final, it wasn't such a big ball to get there. I was fortunate enough to coach Warwick 2 years ago when we got to the semis.
Yep.
And dead set, the boys hadn't played there all year, and they were gobsmacked. They were all, they were in awe of it. Yeah. And I think it rattled them a little bit. I think the nerves and everything got to them a little bit there. But it's just an interesting contrast in regards to. I loved it we used to have to go and play a fixture there. I loved that. Yeah. The other part of that was interesting was that I don't know. It used to always attract the fog. There wouldn't be a fog anywhere else in Toowoomba, but the fog would come across and you couldn't see the other side. It'd stay there. Yeah, just lull there. It's just
well, that was our home ground. For
it was
5 or 6 years.
It was your home ground.
Yeah, when the uni bought Twara Park and we had to move from there. And you talk about old grounds and playing at Valleys. Well, for me, playing at Twara Park was still my favourite place to ever play football. Yeah. It was unbelievable. Cars are all parked around it. People are backing their utes up with their seats in the back of the ute. They're right on the fence. And you got all the people in the clubhouse and the bar down the bottom. You'd run out through the bar.
That's right, you would.
At Twara Park.
I tell you what, as opposition, you'd cop a fair bit too going through there.
Yep. And then we were at the Oval then for about 4 or 5 years.
Wow. Before
we moved to Gold Park.
Gold Park. So your proudest sporting achievement?
Oh, me. As a junior, I was very fortunate. We had a very good side. We done the clean sweep right through.
Wow.
Yeah. So footballing footballing team-wise, we had a really good junior side right through to 18s. We got the clean sweep, and I played one grand final in A grade, and I was the only one left.
How good's that?
By the time I got through to A grade, and everyone moving on after that life and whatever.
That's unbelievable.
So junior-wise, that would be it.
That'd be it. Yeah.
Very fortunate.
What's your most favourite moment?
Yeah, it's a bit like you. Like as in, there's several, and I've been very fortunate to rejuvenate coaching career coming back to Toowoomba. But probably the proudest moment would be when I left here to go to Grafton Ghosts in northern New South Wales. I got an opportunity down there, and we took it upon ourselves to be the most professional club within the district. It was interesting. We there was 4 of us went down coaching staff. We went down to St George. Nathan Brown was coaching. We spent 4 days down there, and then I was fortunate enough when we came back, they incorporated everything they'd learnt down there. They put it into place within the club, and we went from having, from country rugby league club to having ice baths, players getting weighed, players getting catered for on trips away, and everything else. And it was just mind-boggling in regards to how everybody bought into it. We were fortunate there, but we took out the premiership that year. Not the first year, the third year. The third year we took it out. And then we took out the what they call the Clayton's Cup down there. The Clayton's Cup is the best.
The cup you're having when you're not having a cup.
That's a bit like it. It was disputed by Illawarra St George. Paul McGregor was coaching that team, but it's the team that's rated the best New South Wales country team. Yeah, that played the best club with the for and against. And I remember catching up with Paul McGregor up in Mackay, and I think he was disputing whether we should have won it or not. But that's probably my proudest moment in regards to being able to coach the first. That was my first grand final that I'd won as an A grade coach. So
good on you. Good memories.
No, it was great memories.
Any players out of there that went on to go and play somewhere?
Like a bloke called Anthony Don went on to play for the Titans.
Yeah, played on the wing, didn't he?
Played on the wing.
Good player. Very
good player. He was known to us as Boog. He come from Newcastle. He was studying university at Newcastle, and unfortunately, one of his best mates had passed away in Grafton, and he made a commitment to come back and play for Grafton Ghosts. And to put it into context, when Anthony caught the ball at fullback, our players used to start running the other way, just as he knew how much he would bring the ball back, and he scored a phenomenal amount of tries that year. So it was interesting because I recommended him to. I think Siebes was at Mackay. I recommended him there. Johnny Dixon was at Redcliffe, and he ended up at Burleigh Bears. And I said, "Why Burleigh Bears?" And he said, "Well, Redcliffe hasn't got a good enough beach. Mackay's got no beach, and I love surfing, so that's where he ended up in there as well." So
it was beach.
Great, best beach, and
he went on. He played quite a few games in a row.
Yeah, no, he was phenomenal. It was a credit to him. And then he's also still involved in their pathway system. And
good.
Very good. It's really good, those things. I think I was really fortunate. There was a bloke called Aaron Hartman. He'd been in the Newcastle night system. He'd come back to teach, which was really good. So,
good.
Yeah, no, it's been really good and really appreciate it. There's probably one other question is that I've got it from a few Papua New Guinea connections that you might have been in conversation with the PNG Prime Minister. Is there any scoops that you want to sort of put out here on the Southern Suburbs podcast?
Scoop on the Southern Suburbs podcast. Is this sponsored by someone, this podcast?
It will be.
That's an opportunity, won't it?
It will be.
PNG Chiefs sponsored.
That's it. Let's put it out.
the James Marape.
Well, what was...
I tell you what happened. Well, Clydesdale's played PNG.
Yeah, I was there.
And James Marape was there, the Prime Minister. And allegedly first time...
How does the PNG Prime Minister sneak into... Is it a bit like Luai? Did he just sneak in with a jet? Or how does it all work?
He just drove up from Brisbane. He was actually... I think he's got a son or two that are at university in Brisbane. He was over here and he came up. He wanted to come up. Anyway, he didn't want any recognition, didn't really want too many people to know. But we've got some wonderful people here, Keeler and Francis, who are PNG for a long time. They're beautiful people. You know, they came up then, and I spent the 2 hours with James talking about different things. And what was really good about it is that the connection between PNG and Toowoomba is really strong. You go back to the 25th Battalion when our team, 1,000 soldiers left Kabbalah, walked down to Spring Bluff, headed to Brisbane, then Rockhampton, to go to Milne Bay to fight. They were part of the garrison that defeated the Japanese, first land defeat of the Japanese army in Milne Bay, in PNG. So so it's Kokoda track. So our military is really strong, and we've got a plaque over in Milne Bay that talks about the history. And I haven't been over there to see it, but I've got a mate who's over there at the moment working for the bank, and he's checking it out for me. And I said to James, I'd love to get over there and have a look at that, or if you can organise it for me to go over and check that this plaque is in good order and whether we need to do something about it, because it's really important for our history, you know. And he got straight onto WhatsApp, and he's texting me about it and all that sort of stuff, which is great.
How good is that?
So I spoke about that. Also spoke about the fact that our schooling has provided education to a lot of PNGs, a lot of them.
Concordia used to be a lot of PNG.
Concordia still has.
Still has, yeah.
Still have. Toowoomba Grammar School had Sir Buri Kidu. Sir Buri Kidu was the first Chief Justice local PNG. He was the first Chief Justice of PNG and went to the grammar school. They've got a hospital named in his honour, a cardiac area, because he died of a heart attack, unfortunately, and his son went through grammar only a few years ago. So the connections are really strong from an education perspective. If you look at the palm workers who are the Pacific Island, you would have seen a bit of this, Collie, from your Warwick days. You know, in the footprint of Toowoomba, Western Downs, Southern Downs, Lockyer Valley, we've got about 5,000 PNG palm workers. 5,000.
I've witnessed it last year. I think it was Independence.
Yeah, Independence Day.
They had it at the railway shed.
25th.
Went up there.
Yeah, you're there.
Beef City, they've employ a lot of them as well. Yep.
So, you know, we're indebted to a lot of those people, because it's Aussies aren't in there doing the work. They're doing the work to do the picking, working the meat works, the chicken works, wherever it may be. What the Prime Minister wants to do is actually elevate the skill set of his locals to be boilermakers, engineers. So it's not what you'd call the mainstream, you know, workers in the field. They can actually add value. And he said, we've got enough people up there that can do this. So, you know, I think that connection is really strong. And the last one, which is more relevant to this podcast, is that as we've heard with James Luai signing up for 2028, first year for the PNG Chiefs, is the connection that we could have between the Chiefs and Toowoomba in regard to a Australian base, a feeder into their system. And I'm particularly interested in the conversation that we had in regard to the ladies. So when they have their ladies in the competition, which I don't think is in 28, I think it'll be the year after or the year after that, that's a lot of travel and it's a lot of effort for these people to do that. There may be an opportunity for us to actually be their Australian location for the PNG Chiefs ladies team. They're the sorts of conversations that we had, and I said that was the final one. The final one is that with the Paralympics in 2032, there'd be no better location for them to base their team than right here in June, July, and August for the Paralympics. So, you know, they're the sorts of conversations we had, and James was very open to all of those ideas. He said to me, Mayor, you come up to PNG, I'll drive you around and we'll send a photo to Albo. I said, well, that'll do me. So, really, it was a really good couple of hours. Great 2 hours, to be honest, and, really interesting.
How good is that?
So he invited me up to go and watch Clydesdales play PNG in August. Unfortunately, I can't make it because we've got another activity on here that I just can't get away for. But I will get there because of those links. The links are strong here, and particularly the military links. You know, the fuzzy wuzzies, the angels out there at PNG that worked with our troops. You know, to make sure that we were able to get out. You know, we lost a couple of hundred people in that war. The military's strong.
It's good to hear. Like we're fortunate enough to have a couple of PNG lads within our side, within the club, and they've been a fantastic acquisition to our club. And we interviewed one here, Jonah in particular. I think he's like a civil engineer, fly in, fly out.
There you go.
Unbelievable. And then we've got young Jasper, who's an engineer as well. Great people, very loyal. Can't speak highly enough of them. And we're looking at ways that we could potentially tap into having a feeder team or an alignment team with them as well.
Good.
If someone could come on board and sort the visas out in between, that'd be much appreciated. That's the biggest headache. So, but in there. But
no, that's good. Well, you're doing
very
well.
much.
Thanks for the invite to be involved.
No worries, Jeff.
it.
Really
We've gone a bit
appreciate your
longer, but
time.
It was all those stories about me, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, and they weren't as boring as what you thought they were.
Turn it up.
No, but on behalf of the South Tigers Rugby League Club, really appreciate your time and thank you very much for the insight in regards to what potentially is happening in and around the sporting ovals and the opportunities that we've got through, whether it be PNG link or the Olympics coming up. It's very exciting times and we've got great facilities within it's a great location, great opportunities in the future's very
The
bright
future's
for us.
bright, and I think
Very
we
bright.
should always be ambitious. As a region, our community deserves that. We're on the back of being ambitious. We should be that, and when there's talk about an NRL licence, a new licence, we should be at the table, and we certainly are. So that's something that that excites me for generations after I'm well and truly gone. That really excites me to watch.
Yeah, well, I think that's the case. I think we're planting not so much about what the immediate. We're planting seeds for 10, 15 years down the track.
Well,
Not so much-
bypass, the Toowoomba bypass, was in the mix for 80 years before it got done.
Yep.
Let's hope the fast rail that we want from Toowoomba to
Doesn't
Brisbane
take as long.
doesn't take
Take
80
as
years.
long, no.
Anyway, there's a lot on. It's there's no better place to be perfectly honest. There really isn't.
Yeah.
This is the spot for all reasons. Thank you. Been a
No
great
worries.
pleasure.
Thank you very
Signing
much.
off.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hugh
Hugh.
deserves
Appreciate
a round
that.
of applause.
Thank you, Hugh.
Oh,
Hugh
yeah.
Clark. Let's get behind him. Cheers. Thank you.